Hey everybody, it's Nick from Android Headlines, and this is our review of the Xiaomi Mi Mix. So Xiaomi has taken a very different path this time around with this latest device, and it's something that's wholly unique among other OEMs out there right now. Meet the Mi Mix, a brand new style of phone from Xiaomi, and one that you don't often see. The most striking thing here, of course, is the screen. There are virtually zero bezels around 3 of the 4 sides of this phone. Even that bottom bezel is significantly less than most phones, Pixel we're looking at you, which really is incredibly impressive. What might be even more impressive though is how large this screen is in proportion to the body. At 6.4 inches, you'd think this would be a massive hulking phone, but in reality it's essentially no larger than a Nexus 6P, which by the way only has a 5.7 inch screen for reference. While the screen to body ratio is still in question, Xiaomi states that the screen takes up 91.3% of the face, and while that may not be completely accurate, it's a far larger ratio than the 75% or so that most phones have without a doubt. Screen quality itself is alright though, and honestly if it weren't for the sheer size and lack of bezels, this would be chalked up as a pretty average IPS display in every way. One extraordinary thing about it, however, is the aspect ratio, which is actually 17:9, leaving just enough dedicated room for that software navigation bar at the bottom. It's quite uncommon to see a software nav bar in any Xiaomi phone, but here it is, and it's quite nice too. As with every Xiaomi phone, the buttons can be customized, but since they're software, they also include a new 4th button all the way to the left, a hovering ball that can make the nav bar disappear and replace it with a movable, floating set of nav icons similar to Facebook Messenger chat heads, for instance. This might also make it more comfortable for some folks trying to one-hand the phone, something that's actually doable thanks to the near lack of bezels. You may find your hand getting a little tired after holding the phone for a while though, as its 209 grams is about 30% heavier than your average phablet nowadays. Two things seem to be the key to making this phone weigh so much: a 4,400 mAh battery and an all-ceramic build. For reference, this battery is about 40% or so larger than your average phablet's battery, which certainly accounts for the bulk of the weight difference, and it absolutely makes a difference when concerning battery life. There's just no killing this phone's battery pretty much no matter what you do, and that's a very good thing considering how much of a joy it is to use a screen this large. You're pretty much going to want to do everything possible on it, and it's fantastic to regularly see 45% battery left at the end of a day when it's been off the charger for over 17 hours and has a screen on time of over 5 hours. Yeah, it's that crazy, and lighter users will definitely be able to get 2 days or more out of it on a single charge. You're not going to want to use this one without a case though, which is rather unfortunate given just how gorgeous this phone looks. As was said before, this phone is not made out of metal or glass like most phones are, except for the screen of course. Instead it's made almost completely out of zirconia ceramic. We've seen similar builds on other phones before, notably the OnePlus X this time last year, but nothing that used ceramic on most of the body. The result is a phone that's unbelievably sleek and beautiful, with a perfect mirror finish and gorgeous rounded curves. Unfortunately, it's also as slippery as it looks, and it's possible that this is the most slippery, frictionless phone ever created. This may not be such a problem if the phone were drop test rated like some other phones out there. However, we've seen from some users who got the phone already that it doesn't exactly survive a drop all too well. In addition to this, there either seem to be some design or maybe quality control issues with the volume and power buttons, as our review unit has rather wobbly buttons that feel ultra cheap and simply don't suit the rest of the build. The back also gives in just a tad when pushed, continuing the thought of some possible design or QC issues. Xiaomi has stated that this is a limited supply phone and at this time is only selling the device in China, but it's still sad to see such quality issues in some places and an oversight in others. Thankfully, Xiaomi includes a rather nice leather case inside the box of each Mi Mix, and this case sort of makes the phone feel whole. It's grippy and covers the wobbly buttons with a complete leather exterior, improving the construction and making this one feel super solid. There's still not much in the way of screen protection here, which is great for keeping those bezels small, but maybe not so great for drops on the face. For the first time ever, Xiaomi is also shipping a phone not only with LTE that works perfectly outside China, namely here in the US on T-Mobile, but also with a fully working NFC radio. This means Android Pay and other international payment methods should be able to function perfectly, especially since this is shipping with Android 6.01 Marshmallow with MIUI 8 on top, as well as a rear-facing fingerprint scanner. Rounding out that spec list is a top-of-the-line Snapdragon 821 processor inside, a USB Type-C port on the bottom, 3.5mm headset jack with 24-bit audio support up top, and a dual nano SIM tray on the left side. On the pricing front, you're looking at 34.99 yuan, which is about $515 for the model that ships with 4 gigs of RAM and a whopping 128 gigs of internal storage. If you need more of each for some reason, you can fork out 3,999 yuan, or about $590 to get 6 gigs of RAM and an incredible 256 gigs of internal storage. And as a bonus, this more expensive model actually ships with 18-karat gold rings around the rear-facing camera and fingerprint scanner. Now that's fancy. On the software front, you're really not getting anything different here from other Xiaomi flagships that have shipped this year, and you'll find the version of MIUI 8 on board is identical to the Mi Max or Mi 5 that we've already reviewed. Xiaomi's weekly updates always provide bug fixes and occasionally new features, but for the most part you really won't find anything new here to differentiate between those phones. The biggest shame here is of course the lack of any real features to take advantage of a 6.4-inch screen, like split-screen app functionality for instance. Maybe MIUI 9, based on Android 7.0 Nougat, will have those, but for now it simply isn't there. The camera software is also identical to the aforementioned phones, but unfortunately the quality simply isn't. The cameras on the Mi Max are not good by any standard, especially for a phone that costs over $500. It's a massive disappointment to say the least, and while daytime shots are at least somewhat decent and get the job done, they aren't super amazing or groundbreaking. Low light and nighttime shots are really where this camera tanks though, and that includes both the 16-megapixel rear camera as well as the 5-megapixel front-facing one. Either something in the processing is messed up, or these are just really poor sensors that Xiaomi has stuck in the Mi Mix. And you'll find that nighttime shots are blurry, overly dark, and severely lacking in detail. In many situations the colors are totally off and everything just looks bad. This is really bizarre for Xiaomi given how much they've pushed camera tech on their less expensive phones, and one of the most expensive phones they've ever released somehow turns out to have terrible cameras. Do not buy this phone for its camera, or if you regularly use your smartphone as an everyday camera. It really is just bad. The last oddity we'll cover here is the proximity sensor and earpiece, and for those that still use their smartphones as a phone, this is sort of a problem. Since there's no place for an earpiece up top, Xiaomi has placed it under the glass. As far as sound quality and clarity goes, this really isn't an issue, surprisingly. However, the placement of the speaker is. The speaker actually seems to be about right in the middle of the device, rather than close to the top, and if you place your ear in the middle of the phone to hear it best, those new ultrasonic proximity sensors don't really detect your face, which turns the screen on and causes all sorts of havoc on a call. It's annoying to say the least, and really is unfortunate for anyone not using a Bluetooth headset or loudspeaker. All in all, the Xiaomi Mi Mix is a really interesting phone that's best for folks who spend lots of time on their device all day long and like to do as much as possible on a very generously sized screen. It's got one of the most gorgeous builds ever seen on any smartphone, and the technology used here to reduce the bezels around the top and sides is absolutely one that needs to make its way into other phones as quickly as possible. As a technology showcase, the Mi Mix is a winner without a doubt, but as a daily phone, this one falls short in quite a few key ways that will definitely be more than irritating for many users out there. Weigh the pros and cons here for sure, but this phone is not for everyone. We hope you enjoyed that review and will subscribe to us for more content. Check us out on your favorite social media network, and don't forget to check out AndroidHeadlines.com for 24/7 Android-based news coverage. Thanks for watching, and until next time.